Ever feel like your brain is running on a totally different operating system than everyone else's? Well, today we're going to dive into that exact idea, what it means to have a complex mind and see the world in a way the vast majority of people just don't. So let me ask you straight up, do you ever get that persistent feeling that you're just wired differently? That you're seeing things and picking up on stuff that others seem to completely miss? Maybe in conversations, you're not just hearing the words, you're sensing all the hidden motivations underneath. Or maybe your brain is constantly making these wild connections between random ideas. Or you find yourself getting lost pondering those huge what if questions. If any of that is ringing a bell, then you're definitely in the right place. Well, there's a name for this. According to our source material, it's called a complex mind. And let's be super clear, this isn't about being better or smarter. Not at all. It's just about living in a mental space that's full of layers, subtlety, and a curiosity that honestly just never shuts off. Okay, so if you're sitting there thinking, hey, this is starting to sound a lot like me, you're probably wondering what the specific signs are. So let's get into it. Let's start unpacking the traits that really define this different kind of mind. All right, sign number one, you almost never take things at face value. A simple story isn't just a story to you, right? It's a whole puzzle of motivations, hidden meanings, and bigger patterns. Your mind is always digging deeper for what's really going on beneath the surface. But here's the thing, and this is so important. It's totally a double-edged sword. The challenge? Yeah, you can definitely get stuck overthinking everything. But the gift? Wow. The gift is that you get to experience a world that's so much richer and more detailed than most people ever see. The author of our source actually shares this perfect little story. He says his wife sometimes just laughs at him when he gets completely lost in his head after a really simple chat. And you know what? It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's just how your kind of mind processes the world. Okay, on to the next sign. You have this powerful, almost automatic impulse to ask one simple question, but why? While most people just go along with social norms and cultural rules, you have this deep-seated need to understand the logic behind them. And this isn't about being a rebel. It's about refusing to just blindly accept things as they are. And all that questioning, it leads us perfectly into our next section, which is all about how this way of thinking shows up in the way you connect ideas and make sense of the world. So sign number 3 is that you rarely stick to just one narrow interest. I mean, you might be totally obsessed with psychology one week, and then suddenly you're deep diving into astrophysics the next. Your mind just doesn't see those boundaries. It sees all these fascinating threads that can be woven together. And this is exactly how it happens. It's this incredible cross-pollination of ideas. You take a little something from here, a little from there, and bam! A totally new, unique insight just emerges. That's your creative superpower, the thing others who stay in their lane might never find. A lot of people need things to be black and white. They need clear answers. But a complex mind, it's totally comfortable hanging out in the gray areas. Our source uses this great example from Buddhist teachings, the idea of holding two opposite ideas at once, like how life is both full of suffering and incredibly beautiful. You don't just put up with paradox, you actually draw energy from it. Now, this complexity we're talking about, it isn't just intellectual. Oh no, it runs so much deeper. So let's explore the really intense emotional landscape that usually comes along for the ride. So sign number 5 is that you feel things deeply. Like really, really deeply. The right piece of music can bring you to tears. A book can literally change your entire perspective on life, and a moment of joy can feel like pure electricity. Your emotional world is every bit as rich and layered as your intellectual one. And here we are again with that two-sided coin. On the one hand, yeah, all that emotional depth can be completely overwhelming sometimes. It can leave you feeling kind of raw and vulnerable. But, and this is a huge but, that is also the exact source of your incredible empathy, your ability to connect with people, and your creativity. Because that inner world is so rich and busy, you probably find yourself really craving solitude. And let's get this straight, it is not because you're antisocial. It's because your mind absolutely needs that space to process, to untangle all of the threads, and just to recharge. Solitude isn't an escape. It's essential maintenance for your brain. It's your fuel. And this brings us to what might be the biggest paradox of having a complex mind, how you experience connection with other people.
So sometimes you're in a crowd and you just feel like you're from another planet, totally out of sync with everyone. It can feel really isolating. And yet, at the very same time, you can feel this massive, profound connection to all of humanity, to our struggles, our joys, our whole messy story.
A huge part of that alien feeling comes from the struggle to just explain yourself. Your thoughts are so multi-layered, it's like trying to describe a 3D movie to someone who only sees in black and white. It's why so many people with complex minds turn to things like writing. It's a way to finally bring some order to that whirlpool inside your head. So, if you've been nodding along this whole time, maybe feeling a little bit seen, let's talk about what all this means. It's time to shift from just analyzing these signs to actually embracing them. Remember this number, 95%. If you recognize yourself in this, it's because you see the world differently than 95% of the population. No, you are not just imagining it. And that difference, it's not something you should ever hide. The whole point is to reframe the challenges. That tendency to overthink, that's actually what gives you such a deep insight. That intense sensitivity, that's the root of your empathy. Feeling isolated, that's what builds your resilience. And all that questioning, that's the engine of your creativity. And this right here is the single most important thing to take away today. Your mind isn't broken. It's different. And that complexity is a profound gift, one that lets you bring a totally unique perspective to the world. So, I'll just leave you with this. Now that you can see your unique wiring as a strength, not a weakness, how are you going to choose to embrace your complexity, starting today?